Hello everyone, my name is Bella Wei, and today I'm presenting my literature review titled Exploring the Economics Behind Fashion Resale Markets. And this research is conducted as part of my Polygence project. And yeah, so a little bit about me. I'm a senior at Newport High School, and I've been involved in a lot of activities in school, such as cheer and link crew, and I really enjoy oil painting and dance. And I'm interested in economics, which is why I started this project. So, to give some background about this project, fashion resale markets are expanding really quickly worldwide, and they raise a lot of important economic questions. And these markets challenges traditional retail models, reshaping the consumer decision making and creating a new revenue streams for the brands. But they also introduce new revenue streams that can be a barrier to the brand and such as consumer trust, platform reliability, and quality control. And understanding the economics behind these trends is crucial for predicting how the industry will evolve in the future. So some of my project goals. My project have remained two main goals. First, to synthesize and analyze the existing literature on the economics of fashion resale markets, basically to bring together what scholars have already studied. And second, to identify the categorized motivators and barriers for both consumers and companies or platforms. And by breaking down these factors, I aim to create a clearer framework for understanding why resale works and how it struggles. So here's the conceptual framework of my study. I also used it as in my published paperwork. So to organize my research, I developed this, and this framework helped me to sort literature into two broad categories, which is consumer side motivator and barriers and company side motivators and barriers. And thinking about both perspectives allow us to see the dynamics of the resale ecosystem. So getting into the consumer motivators. The first big motivator is the growing environmental concerns regarding the fashion industry, and many consumers see resale as a sustainable alternative to fast fashion because we know that even though we see in our closet that the clothes that we all own, we don't really think about it that much, but when we combine it all together, it is actually one of the biggest reason why climate change and global warming is happening. And the fast fashion industry is also being a really big reason why. So environmental concerns is rising as the biggest or one of the biggest motivators that consumer turn to the fashion resale market. And the second is obviously the economic motives, where resale offers a lower price and even a chance to resell the items later. So some consumers, maybe like in a younger generation, when they want to pursue their own style and fashion choice, they might seek to resale market because it offers a cheaper and more affordable alternative. And the third one is identity and symbolic motivations like uniqueness, vintage character, and status signals. And the fourth one is emotional motives, such as the pleasure of owning something with a story. And then moving on to consumer barriers, consumer also face a lot of barriers when considering resale market despite all the benefits and motivators. Some worry about the hygiene or contamination when buying secondhand, and other face just trust issues. Is the item authentic? Does it match description or will it fit? And social and culture barriers also exist. Resale can carry a stigma with some communities, or people may feel it signals a lower socioeconomic status, and in certain cultures, there are even superstitions about used goods. And these barriers show why not all consumers embrace resale equally. And moving on to company and platform motivators, on the company side, motivators look very different. Brands often engage in resale or reputational reasons to improve their sustainable image, or there are also strong commercial motives. Resale can open new revenue streams and extend the life cycle of products. And finally, resale helps with consumer retention, especially among younger cohorts who may start with resale and later transition into new products. And platforms themselves see resale as both product innovation and service expansion. And then moving on to the company platform barriers. Um, Profitability is not guaranteed in the resale market since pricing dynamics are complicated in resale and supply is unpredictable because brands cannot always control the flow of used good, and this is very rare in the fashion market because this is completely based upon if the people who own the goods wants to give it in for resale. And then quality control and grading are very difficult, and inconsistent product presentation online often leads to return and consumer dissatisfaction. And these challenges make it risky for companies to fully embrace resale, even if consumer demand is rising. And my conclusion is fashion resale is growing and is multifaceted phenomenon, and the literature documents across have many contexts. And central theme includes the information asymmetry, operational variability, and the diversity of consumer and company experiences. While the current evidence base is helpful, it's still incomplete, and we need more targeted empirical work to understand not just why resale is growing, but also how it can overcome its barriers and shape the future of fashion economics. And that's the end of my presentation.
Thank you so much. This is an amazing presentation, and you really give us a lot to think about, especially the way that we shop. So it's time for questions. I saw that we have some questions in the Q&A box. Okay, the first one, how has this project changed the way you shop or even how you approach buying material goods?
I think definitely learning about the impact of the fashion industry in our climate and just society as a whole, it really kind of made a difference in the way I look at different clothes. Like, for example, if I go before homecoming is approaching, so I was shopping with
Mhm.
dresses with my friends, and I was looking at the materials, and I remember seeing this really beautiful dress. I was gonna get it, but when I looked at the material, I was like, wait, this material's kind of really bad for our earth and the planet. So I kind of like just held back myself. But obviously, I don't think that anybody should feel like they're the one who's causing all of the climate changes when they're purchasing from the fashion industry. But I just do think that it's something important that I kept in mind, at least when I shop for clothes. So I guess that's a way that this research had really changed my shopping behavior.
Yes, totally agree, and that's really thoughtful of you. Moving on to the next question, what are your thoughts on companies like FIA who make finding these resale goods more accessible?
I definitely think that some of the companies that work on making the journey of finding resale goods more accessible to be very beneficial because, again, like a lot of people, they struggle with finding a resale product that they really need. But at the same time, I think like mentioned in the research, there was a part of like online product presentation, or if it's not online then, but basically like product being presented online can be very vastly different from what they appear in real life. So I think that is another factor to take in consideration when using those platforms to help you look for the resale goods that you want. But at the same time, I think that can definitely be like a really beneficial help to consumers turning into resale market because they often do struggle with finding the website or the brand that they want. So I do think that that's a really beneficial thing for us in the future to look for resale goods.
Yes. Okay, and we have one more question. What is the coolest resale item you own?
Oh, so that's really hard to choose because I work in a thrift shop. I volunteer there, so I get like a first-hand access to a lot of thrift goods. But I think the coolest thing I own, it's actually not about fashion, but it's I actually have it on my desk, but it's this really cute like cat thing that I got in my thrift shop. I think it's from Japan. I think it was from a Japanese lady that lived in the community before. And I just thought it was really cute, and it's just something that gets passed down with like the culture and everything. So I think that's another really good thing about resale markets, that the thing you get always has a story behind it. So I think that's the best thing probably, but it's really hard to say.
Yeah, and yeah, it's so cute.
Thank you.
I also have one more question for you.
Yeah.
What role do you think like digital platforms and technology play in shaping the resale economy? Like whenever I need to buy something, I usually check like Facebook Marketplace first to see if we have something like that on the marketplace before buying. So what do you think like those social media platforms or technologies is gonna help shaping the resale economy?
I think social media and technology, in the way that they shape the resale economy, I think it plays a really big role, because not everybody do have access to the thrift shop or like any secondhand store in their community. And accessibility is definitely a big main tar thing about social media that everybody really loves about, because it gives you a lot of different options that you can just view when you're at home. Like for example, if you're just at home and you're bored and you don't want to drive to a thrift shop, and then you can just open your phone and look for those products. And although I mentioned that there's a barrier about the product presentation, I still think that it's a really big motivator at some point too for the consumers because of how easy to access it is. And although maybe the product you get is different, you can always return it. So that can also be something that can make the consumer feel more secure. And again, from working in the experience of a thrift shop worker, I remember it was about last year that we also opened like a social media account, because we see that like some people, they just told us that they can't drive that far to see our thrift shop. So we also opened a social media account and some online websites that people can just thrift like online, and that really helped with the revenue. So I think again, technology and social media, not considering the fashion resale market, is like it's a rising trend like in general. So I think it really helps the fashion resale market because of its easy accessibility.
Yes, that's true and very eye-opening. Thank you so much.